Our bus is a 1997 Thomas International 5-window short bus with a handicap accessible door on the side. Our engine is the T444E, and our bus is about 24 feet long, so if we can overhang, we can fit into one parking space. Otherwise, it fits pretty comfortably in two. The interior height of the bus is about 6'2", and that's with all of the insulation in the floor and the ceiling that we added. So it's a decent amount of headroom. And our bus weighs about 15,000 pounds. The gross vehicle weight rating is just under 20,000, so we are underweight.
I'm Jimmy.
I'm Natalie.
And together we make up Jimmy and Natalie.
This is our kitchen. We have 7.5 feet of countertop and tons of storage space. So these open up on gas struts, so they kind of hold themselves open. They also stay shut while we're driving, which is very convenient. In our kitchen we have a microwave that does not get used very much. We also have a Dinette refrigerator with a freezer, and we have it on a slide. So this is our refrigerator, and that's our freezer. And it just tucks into the countertop like this. We have tons of refrigerator and freezer space. Here is our 2-burner gas stove, which is how we cook most of our meals. It's connected to a propane tank in the back that we'll show you later. We have a huge sink right here that takes up as much space as it possibly can. It's really nice for being able to wash all of our pots and pans. We don't have a problem fitting any of our dishes in this huge sink. We also have a sink faucet with a sprayer. So our sink faucet has a sprayer or the normal function, which is kind of a nice added touch. We can also flip it around and point it outside for an outdoor shower. We haven't had to do that yet, but it's a nice option to have later. We have a lot of our food storage up in these 3 pantry we call it our pantry, but it's these overhead cabinets. We also keep our toiletries in this one, so we kind of have our toothpaste and everything in a little basket that we can take down. We also have this mirror that we use. Jimmy sets it up here when he's using it, and then if I'm using it, I put it on an S-hook and I hang it right here. So it's the perfect height for either of us. We also keep our dishes in here. Underneath the sink is where we keep our vent-free hot water heater. It's powered by the propane tank that we keep in the garage. This is our silverware drawer. We have an AC outlet right here, which we use for our Instant Pot and rice cooker. Down here is our microwave. It's held in place by a tension rod whenever we're driving, and we just kind of leave it there until we need to use it, which is most of the time. So this is extra storage, and this little funky shaped cabinet is also more storage. To keep most of our pans and one pot in here. It's a really tight fit, which just means it's space efficient. So this is our kitchen, but it also transforms into part of our living room space. We have a very small chaise lounge on our couch right here. It's technically an L shape, but it's pretty small. It's 6-inch foam cushions, so it's very comfortable to sit on, and it's perfect for 2 people to get comfortable on. We also have our charging cabinet right here, which has a USB outlet, which just lets us tuck away all of our charging cables. So they stow away in here to stay nice and neat. And directly across from our couch, we have our television, which you can't see right now because it's hidden in our countertop. So to put up our television, we just pull up, and we can hook it into place using these gate latches. And it just stays up like that, and it's the perfect spot to watch from our couch. We have 2 inches of foam in this cabinet to protect the TV while we're driving, and so far it's worked really well. One other thing that I really love about our bus is that we made these custom window coverings that go throughout the entire bus. And the way that they work is you unhook them at the top, and then you lower them down and they tuck into the wall. So these work super great for keeping it cool in here or warm in here, depending on what the ambient temperature is outside. They have Reflectix built in, and the fabric is waterproof, so they hold up really well against condensation.
So moving back a little bit, we have a 4-person dinette that we use to eat all our meals at. So we can fit 2 people on either side, and in between we have a table on a Laguna mount that allows us to swivel it back and forth and even remove it if we need extra walking space in the main area. Both of these benches lift up to show extra storage. In the first one we have our diesel heater and a couple of other things like shoes and extra food. And in the back one we have pretty much our entire electrical system. We have our batteries, inverter, as well as our solar charge controller. So on the front panel of this bench, we have a little cutout where we inset all of our control panels for our electrical system. And that basically just includes our solar charge controller, our inverter on-off switch, and our battery monitor system. Going on my left side, we have the world's smallest shower. It is basically a 2.5 foot by 3 foot shower. That's the width of 1 bus window. The entire shower is one giant waterproof room. And we also added a little waterproof cubby down in the bottom left that allows us to roll our Nature's Head composting toilet that's on wheels into the cubby. This allows us to not have to pull it out to the hallway whenever we want to take a shower. And finally behind me is our bedroom. We have one full-size mattress where we actually had to cut the corner off of to fit the shower here. Behind our heads is the nightstand. Both Natalie and I have a cubby, and then we also have a laundry chute that we put our hamper in, and that's where we hide all of our dirty clothes. Up top, we have 3 overhead compartments where we keep pretty much all of our clothes. Any clothes that don't fit there or that need to be hung up, we have a small little hanging closet underneath our bed here. Right above our heads in the bedroom area, we have one of our 2 max air fans. This has been really helpful, and we really love having 2 so that we can have one suck the air out and one blow the air in, so we can really get the air circulating, especially on hot nights. On the panel closest to our head, we have the 2 light switches that control the light for the bathroom, as well as the 2 above the main bedroom. And we have the diesel heater control so that we can turn on the heater when we're still in bed, which has been really helpful for those cold mornings. And of course, we can't forget about my favorite part of the bus. Is our LEDs that we strung from the front all the way back that wraps around into the bedroom area. We love this feature. We use this all the time whenever we do movie nights. And we can also change the color.
So if you open up our handicap door, this is where we keep the majority of our electrical system. We have 300 amp hours of lithium iron phosphate batteries that we got from Renogy. We also opted to upgrade and get a battery management system, which lets us very closely monitor our batteries and has been invaluable for us. We also have a 3,000 watt inverter charger and 6 100 watt solar panels on the roof. We have a 60 amp MPPT solar charge controller, and we also have a shore power inlet just in case we're not getting enough sun.
So through the back door of the bus, this is where we access most of our garage space, as well as our fresh water fill up. We have a little nozzle here that actually tees off into a garden hose splitter that allows us to choose which of our 2 freshwater tanks that we fill. We really wanted 100 gallons of freshwater, but we didn't have room for a 100-gallon tank, so we split it up, and now we have a 55-gallon and a 40-gallon freshwater tank. So similar to the fill, we have a water pull system that our pump draws water from our tanks that has the same garden hose splitter that allows us to choose which of the 2 tanks we're pulling from. And then all the gray water that comes out from the shower or the sink runs into our 55-gallon gray water tank that is on this side of the bus. In between our fill-up system, we have our white box, which is our safety box for our propane tank. It's just an airtight box so that if the propane tank does leak, it'll just float downwards and go out of the ventilation hole and escape underneath the bus.
So when we go up the ladder, this puts us onto our U-shaped rooftop deck that we built ourselves with no welding. It has the U-shape to accommodate our rain cover for our max air fan, which lets us use the fans even if it's raining. We also have our 6 100 watt solar panels up here, and we can walk in between them a little bit whenever we need to clean them. Jimmy and I have been together for about 7 years, and we're currently engaged. We met in college, and after graduating, we started working in office jobs. We quickly realized that we did not want to do that with our lives.
We found out about bus life one night when we were just pacing back and forth, trying to figure out what direction we wanted to take our lives in. and we stumbled upon a Netflix movie called Expedition Happiness, where it was about a German couple that built out a full-size skoolie and they traveled across the United States and Canada. We fell in love with that idea and we stayed up all night doing more research, and that's when we started to solidify in our heads that we really wanted to do this. So we started making plans to save for and start to design our own skoolie bus.
So far, we have loved living in our skoolie. It's the perfect size for us, and I think we thought out the design really thoroughly before we did it. So I think we anticipated as much as we reasonably could have, and we made the space perfect for us, which is a huge bonus for doing the conversion ourselves.
The bus conversion was something that we really enjoyed and had a lot of fun with, but it's definitely something that I'm not eager to do again. The entire process took us about 6 months. We did quit our jobs right before it, so we basically worked on it every single day for those 6 months. It was something Natalie and I worked on together. We did not end up outsourcing any of the projects, which did make it a lot more difficult and kind of slowed down the process because we just had to do so much research and learning before we started anything.
Because when you're doing your own conversion, you're doing your own electrical, your own plumbing, carpentry and cabinet building, structural, like walls and stuff like that. It's just everything you need to learn a little bit about. So that was a lot of the fun, but it also just made it really exhausting.
Yeah, all of that stuff we had no experience with. Before the bus, I was a software engineer and Natalie was
I was a financial analyst.
Yeah, so we learned a lot along the way, and like I said, it was a lot of fun, but it was difficult. I'm not gonna lie about that.
But it's not impossible to learn if you're interested in doing it yourself. You can definitely get there. YouTube is a great resource for information.
Definitely.
When we knew we wanted to live in a skoolie, I really knew that I specifically wanted to have a dinette. It just seems like a really important thing. It's a good place to sit down and eat together, and in all of the apartments and houses that Jimmy and I had lived in before, we'd never had a kitchen table. So that was something really important, and it also serves as a workstation. We have a YouTube channel, and that requires quite a bit of editing, so I can spend like 12 hours sitting and editing almost non-stop, so it's really important to have a comfortable workstation for that. We also knew, I think this was Jimmy's big bucket list item, he wanted a very comfortable couch, so we managed to get both of those aspects in there, so we have a dinette and a couch. That was kind of a tricky part of picking out the design because, you know, it's kind of a small space. You have to figure out the exact dimensions to get both of those, but I think we pulled it off.
Yeah, we only have so much space.
Yeah. Another thing we really wanted was a shower. We know ourselves. We know we're not gonna want to have to hunt down to take a shower every couple days, so we're really glad that we were able to build that in.
Other than that, I think we just really wanted to make it as simple as possible, but also polished. That's why we decided to add a lift-up TV and a hidden cubby for our toilet, just so that these small things can add up and make it look like a very simple design, but it still has a lot of functionality.
We knew that we didn't want to have a bunch of convertible furniture pieces in here. We've seen people who have like a bed that turns into a dinette, and we've also learned that a lot of people will admit they don't ever turn it into a dinette. They just kind of leave it as a bed because it's too much of a hassle to convert it. So it's a lot of things like that. We have a dinette that does not convert into a guest bed. It's too short, and we made it that way knowing that we don't really expect to have overnight company very often because we've lived together in a few apartments and we've had people visit maybe twice. It's not worth it to us to have a guest room option. So I think researching and spending so much time planning out our build before we got started really helped us narrow down what's important to us specifically.
So what type of advice would I give to someone looking to build out their own bus and live tiny is, number one, it's definitely not for everyone. So we spent about a year to a year and a half learning, researching, and trying to actually figure out if this was for us before we even bought the bus. So I would definitely recommend spending time and deciding for yourself or you and your partner if this is something that you'll actually be compatible with. Other than that, go for it. You know, like I said, we're not equipped to do this build, yet somehow we did it. The best advice I can give to that is just go slow. The biggest things that we regret were things that we rushed and kind of skipped out on some steps, and we could have done a lot better. You know, a lot of that was because we were new, but some of it was also because we wanted to get on the road. We just really wanted to get to the tiny living part of it, and definitely towards the end of the build, we were getting a little tired of it, and we just wanted to start traveling. I know it's cliche, but if we can do it, anyone can do it. So if you think it's right for you, I would definitely advise anyone to go for it.
Yeah, you've got to go for it, and don't wait until you're older. Don't put it off. If it's something that's really important to you, please go for it. You will thank yourself later.
Thanks everyone for watching our tour.
Yeah, thanks so much.